apologize, but you're following his directives.
He's a sergeant.
Yeah, but still.
Sergeant Wolf ordered me to write the citation.
Like you swore oath to the Constitution.
Right.
I didn't want to write Mr. Kern any citations.
And you know what's right and wrong.
Do you have any regrets sitting here today with respect to the interaction with Mr. Kern?
Objection. You can answer.
Yes.
Either she's lying about it or you're lying about it.
Remember the video I did back in July of 2023 with attorney Chris Wiest about the lawsuit that he had just filed for a guy named Demetrius Kerns? Kerns was almost hit by a police officer who was driving recklessly, and then when he stopped to get her information afterwards and she apologized to him, her supervisor then showed up and began to escalate the situation, demanding Mr. Kerns' ID and ultimately putting him in handcuffs and later falsely charging him with obstruction.
I mean, I'm cool with letting him go. I didn't understand.
He's in handcuffs.
And he's being a jerk.
He obstructed. He refused to identify himself. I'm not going to sit out here and argue with somebody for an hour.
As Chris and I discussed in that video, eventually he would have the opportunity to take the depositions of these two police officers.
Yeah, maybe we do a part 2 video after you've taken some depositions here.
Yeah. Well, we've seen how that goes sometimes. Those are always fun, right? Makes for good TV.
The case isn't over yet. It's still pending. These things can take years, but I actually have the full video depositions of these two police officers, and I'm going to go through them with you so that you can hear exactly what they had to say when confronted under oath. First, part 1, the sworn testimony of Officer Carly Lewis.
Do you disagree with the prosecutor's decision to dismiss the charges against Mr. Kern?
I do not.
And then in part 2, we'll get to the rather unbelievable video testimony of her then supervisor, Sergeant Naftali Wolf.
Do you disagree with the prosecutor?
I do.
Do you know the law better than the prosecutor?
In my business, I have to sign up for subscriptions all the time for all sorts of products and services. Some I continue to use, and some I don't use them, and then I forget about them. That's why I use an app that keeps track of that for me, that cancels unwanted subscriptions and also helps lower my bills. And that app is this video's sponsor, Rocket Money. Rocket Money is an all-in-one finance app that helps you save more and spend less. It allows you to manage subscriptions, lower bills, build a custom budget, and grow your savings all in one place. But my favorite part of using Rocket Money is that it securely identifies recurring charges and allows you to cancel unwanted subscriptions with just a few taps. They've helped customers save over $880 million in canceled subscriptions. You can also use it to lower your bills. Rocket Money will automatically scan your bills to find savings. With just a couple of taps, Rocket Money can help negotiate your bills for you. No customer service calls. Let the app's negotiators do it for you. Go now and join the over 10 million members using Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/civil or click the link in the description to get started for free. You can also unlock even more features with premium. That's rocketmoney.com/civil to get started for free. Thanks again to Rocket Money for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. On September 22nd of 2022, Officer Carly Lewis was on patrol in the city of Cleveland Heights, Ohio, when she saw a silver Infiniti that generally matched the description of a vehicle that was used by a suspect in an incident the day before. Mayfield Road has 5 lanes, 2 lanes running in each direction and a middle turn lane. Officer Lewis was in the left lane driving while the silver Infiniti and Demetrius Kerns were in the right curb lane. Before even turning on her emergency lights, Officer Lewis cut over into the right lane of traffic from the left lane, cutting Mr. Kerns off and almost causing an accident.
1 second! You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm Officer Lewis with Cleveland Heights. The reason I'm for the traffic stop is the plates on the vehicle are expired.
Yeah,
Not even a big deal. Do you know that guy behind me in the Porsche?
I was trying to hurry up and move over.
You're good. No, you're good. You did the right thing. I put my lights out and sirens. He did not move over.
Mr. Kerns was forced to lock up his brakes, skid to a stop, narrowly avoiding an accident with Officer Lewis.
Mr. Goodman stopped abruptly, causing me to have to stop abruptly, causing Mr. Kern to stop abruptly.
According to Mr. Kern, only after she was in front of him did Officer Lewis then activate her lights and sirens. Ultimately, she apologized to Mr. Kern for almost causing the accident.
He was shaken up. She almost caused an accident. She is apologetic at first.
And I'll give you the plate to the other vehicle that's out with the confrontation. I apologize.
You almost ran me off the road.
I initiated my lights and
I didn't hear
sirens.
anything.
But was your music on? Because I had the lights and sirens on, sir.
Yes, sir.
You apologize.
I apologize.
You're wrong.
He stopped abruptly.
I'm gonna let
Okay, I'm not wrong. The lights and sirens were activated.
You ran me
Okay,
off the road
I did not
almost.
do that, sir. The lights and sirens on my
what you apologize
marked
for?
patrol
Victor George,
because he
545.
stopped abruptly, causing me to stop
And I almost
abruptly,
caused an
causing
accident.
you to stop abruptly.
Right.
And I apologize for that. However, the lights and sirens were on. Okay, the police vehicle is marked. You can clearly see it's a marked
You're next
patrol
to me, man.
vehicle. I initiated lights and sirens. I'm not going to argue, and I'm telling you I do. I'm going to tell you I do apologize that he did stop
But I'm
abruptly.
gonna tell you the disconnect.
Nobody was
I'm
wrong.
gonna tell you the disconnect, right? So between the public and you as a public
You want me
servant,
to just that driver check, okay?
if it's something wrong and you actually
Yeah.
did it, all you say, my bad. I'm
And I
sorry,
did. I just
and
said.
keep going.
I
Instead
said
of
my
saying-
bad. I said I activated a traffic. I initiated a traffic stop in a marked vehicle with lights and sirens.
Right.
If you didn't hear the sirens or see the lights, I don't.
I mean, you called back up to your place.
Officer Lewis admitted that she did not activate her turn signal when changing lanes.
Is it your testimony that you had gotten all the way over into the right-hand lane before you activated lights and sirens?
I activated my lights and sirens as I was transitioning into the lane.
Okay. Did you activate a turn signal as you made the lane change?
I wouldn't activate my turn signal if I'm activating my overhead lights and sirens.
Okay.
Significantly, Officer Lewis testified that she did not even see Mr. Kern's vehicle as she made the lane change because she was focused on the silver Infiniti.
How much time did it take him to stop?
I don't know. I wasn't focusing on his vehicle behind me. I was focusing on the vehicle in front of me.
Was the collision that almost occurred during the lane change, or was it after the lane change?
I believe it was after the lane change.
Okay. How do you know that?
I don't know that. I can't see behind my head.
Okay.
I was focusing on Mr. Goodman's vehicle.
After the vehicles were stopped, Mr. Kern begins recording with his cell phone, and he says to Officer Lewis as she approaches him, "I want your badge number, you almost ran me off the road." In response, Officer Lewis told Mr. Kern to wait, so he did. Officer Lewis admitted this in her testimony and also admitted that Mr. Kern complied with her request to wait.
So you exit the vehicle, and I think you said Mr. Kern was yelling. What was he yelling?
Mr. Kern was shouting that I almost hit him and that I cut him off.
And what was your response to
I
that?
advised him that if I recall correctly, I advised him to give me a minute, and I made contact with Mr. Goodman.
Did he give you a minute?
Yeah, he complied. Mr. Kern was very upset. He, stated that I almost struck his vehicle. I cut him off and almost caused an accident. A collision almost did occur. We were very close in proximity to one another. I understand his frustration regarding that matter, and I apologized to him. I explained to him what happened and the reason for the abruptness of the stop. And he obviously was frustrated. He continued to repeat himself. I continued to apologize. And then Sergeant Wolf arrived on scene.
Only seconds after being informed that Mr. Kern wants her name and badge number, Officer Lewis begins retaliating against Mr. Kern by reporting to dispatch, quote, "Send me a unit because another party does not know how to yield to lights and sirens, sitting here recording me saying I almost ran him off the road."
Send me another unit because another party does not know how to yield to lights and sirens, and he's sitting here recording me. Say that I almost ran him off the road.
Sergeant Wolf then can be heard stating, "En route." As Sergeant Wolf is en route, Officer Lewis then is interacting with Mr. Goodman, the driver of that silver Infiniti. So in the meantime, Mr. Kern, as directed, had been standing back on the sidewalk and away from Officer Lewis.
I advised Mr. Kern to stay where he was at on the sidewalk and that I would be right with him.
And did he do that?
He did, yes, sir.
Okay.
Lewis admitted in her deposition that Mr. Kern did not prevent her from talking to Mr. Goodman, but claimed that he somehow delayed it, despite the fact that Mr. Kern complied with her directive to stand back and complied with all other directives that she gave him. And she also admitted that she had the scene under control prior to backup arriving.
Did Mr. Kern ever make it impossible for you to question Mr. Goodman?
Objection, go ahead.
Mr. Kern did not make it impossible. However, he did delay my investigation with Mr. Goodman and not knowing who the driver of that vehicle was.
How so?
I had to take my attention away from Mr. Goodman to speak to Mr. Kern as I was approaching Mr. Goodman's vehicle.
Did Mr. Kern ever prevent you from talking to Mr. Goodman?
No, he did not. He only delayed it.
Did you ever tell Mr. Kern to leave the scene so that you could deal with Mr. Goodman?
I don't recall that I ever told him he needed to leave.
Did you ever warn Mr. Kern to stop interfering with your traffic stop and Mr. Goodman?
I advised Mr. Kern to stay where he was at on the sidewalk and that I would be right with him.
And did he do that?
He did, yes, sir.
Okay. In fact, was there ever a time other than the production of identity that you gave Mr. Kern a directive that he did not comply with?
I don't say that again. I'm sorry.
Did you ever give, other than the identity issue that we're going to talk about, the request for identification, did you ever give Mr. Kern a directive that he failed to comply with?
No, sir.
Okay.
I felt that I had the scene pretty much under control prior to the backup responding.
Officer Lewis then approached Mr. Kern and apologized to him. She claimed that she had her lights and sirens on, but Mr. Kern responded that he did not hear anything. Mr. Kern then stated that he wasn't going to argue with her, and he also tells Officer Lewis that if you do something wrong, just say I'm sorry. Shortly afterwards, Sergeant Wolf arrives. Sergeant Wolf walks up to Mr. Kern and immediately falsely accuses him by stating, well, you don't pull up behind an officer at a traffic stop.
I think the situation would have resolved itself, and then her supervisor, Naftali Wolf, shows up and escalates the situation and threatens, shows up, knows nothing about what happened.
I mean, you call backup for your safety, but
well, you don't pull up behind an officer on a traffic stop.
you don't even know what's going on.
You're right, I don't.
So why are you saying that?
Because I'm here, and what you're doing right now is against the law.
Ran me off the road.
Okay, well then you should have pulled over for lights and sirens. She said it on the radio that you didn't yield. And it's on dash cam, I'm assuming.
Just a disconnect, man.
But instead of letting him go for the purposes of retaliating against Mr. Kern for making an issue of her reckless driving, Officer Lewis then asks Mr. Kern for his last name.
Sir,
I'll tell you what, let her finish her business, and then we can sit down and talk like
we're
adults.
good. I'm going to let him go. We're good. I'm going to let him go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was your last name?
So I am speaking with Mr. Kern and I asked him for his name.
Okay. Why did you want his name?
I like to ask people for their names to know who I'm speaking with.
My last name?
Yeah.
Why do you need my last name?
Because I'm asking who I'm talking to.
Mr. Kern asked why I needed his name, and then Sergeant Wolf overheard that and steps in.
Okay, and then what happened?
Then we get into Sergeant Wolf stating if he doesn't identify himself that it's obstruction and he could be arrested.
You asked me who you were talking to.
You're not going to be under arrest because what you're doing is illegal.
Listen.
What you're doing is illegal. I can charge you for interfering with
Just give me your last name.
Why?
Because I'm conducting business with you right now.
Or my friend, you want to be?
10-4, that's not going to
how
be
it
good.
works. What's your RS?
Stand by.
What's your reasonable articulate suspicion of my crime?
I'm going to get rid of him.
Hold on. I'll doing what you're doing right now?
No, sir. She almost ran me off the road.
Okay. Again, you didn't yield to lights and siren. You came out.
She was next to me and stopped and almost ran me off the fucking road. What are you talking about?
Okay, listen to me. You asked my reasonable articulable suspicion. It's not a probable cause.
If you arrest me, you violate my rights.
I don't want to arrest you. We have to ID you.
You're going to violate my rights. That's what you're going to do?
Okay, we have to ID you. You understand that? Yes, we do.
Meanwhile, Officer Lewis walks back to Mr. Goodman in the silver Infiniti, finishes her stop of him, and releases him. Officer Lewis testified that at that point, all business involving Mr. Goodman was concluded.
When you say clearing the traffic stop with Goodman, you mean you released him and he was free to go?
Yes, sir.
The traffic stop with respect to Goodman, when you say clearing, that's over at that point in time, correct?
Yes, sir. He's left the scene.
Okay. And there was no other work you had to do at that point with respect to Mr. Goodman, fair?
Correct.
Okay. 1902-50, you've released Mr. Goodman, you tell him to have a good day. Would you agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The Goodman traffic stop from this point forward is done and finished, fair?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Officer Lewis then continues to interact with Mr. Kern and again asks him to identify himself.
As I'm approaching Sergeant Wolf and Mr. Kern, I could hear that a situation is escalating.
How is it escalating?
I don't remember exactly what they were saying, but it sounds like they're kind of getting into an argument. I advised Mr. Kern to come talk to me in hopes of de-escalating whatever the conversation had been prior to going over.
Did you hear Sergeant Wolf threaten him with arrest?
I don't recall that.
Why would you need to de-escalate a situation with respect to your supervisor?
Because sometimes people are more receptive to speaking to other people.
Listen, talk to me. Just do me a favor. All I'm asking you,
I'm a private citizen.
just take your hands out of your pocket while we're talking,
Right.
okay? I called for backup, all right?
Yeah.
I initiated a traffic stop. I understand you and I and that gentleman, we all just saw what happened, okay?
Right.
I'm calling for another person because I'm dealing with one person who I don't know who I'm dealing with.
I'm not
And you
expecting.
get out, listen, sir, let me speak. Let me explain to you. I call for another person because I have a man getting out of a car walking towards me. You know how society is. I know how society is.
Open the door.
Now listen,
Right.
I'm asking you to identify yourself so I can let my dispatcher know who I'm out with. If you don't identify yourself, that is obstruction. You are the one that came
Obstruction
out.
is a secondary crime. What crime did I commit?
There's no crime, but I'm
So there's no crime, I
I'm
don't need to
identifying you.
identify. What crime did I commit?
There's no crime, but I'm
So he just asked you what crime he committed. And your response was there was no crime, correct?
Correct?
Was that a true statement?
It was not. No.
Okay. But that's what you told him at the scene at 19:04:02 on your body camera, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you lied to him.
Objection.
Can I answer?
You can answer. You answer until I tell you not to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I did state that, so I would not have cited him for this. But
Well-
yes, I guess if legally it would be a lie.
The supervisor continues to escalate this, threatens Mr. Kern with arrest, says he needs to, immediately produce identification. Ohio, of course, has a requirement that if the police are investigating you for a crime, you do have to identify yourself. But unless they have, as you're aware, reasonable articulable suspicion that you've committed a crime, there's no need to identify yourself. And there's clearly established Sixth Circuit case law, which is the federal circuit, that Ohio's in. It's also Kentucky, Michigan, Tennessee, that says, listen, on this Ohio obstruction statute, if you're not being investigated for a crime, you have no duty to identify yourself. And Mr. Kern takes that position. He's like, what's your reasonable articulable suspicion? What did I do?
okay.
Thank you.
I need your driver license.
Look, man, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to arrest you if you don't identify yourself.
She just said it was no crime.
It is
Listen.
a crime. Obstructing is a
What
crime.
crime?
Obstructing
You have
is a
to
crime.
Identify yourself, Russ.
She almost ran me off the road.
And then I still have to identify you.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna call it into the car. You can arrest me
Okay, turn around. Put that gun back.
because I didn't do anything.
Okay, turn around. Turn around.
I didn't do anything.
Listen, just all you have to do.
I don't have my ID with me.
Okay, what's your cell phone?
Date of birth. That's all we asked for.
For what?
Sergeant Wolf then arrests Mr. Kern. Wolf was exerting significant force upon Mr. Kern while handcuffing him, causing Mr. Kern to ask, "Are you going to break my wrists?" Sergeant Wolf then says, "Stop resisting, stop resisting," to which Mr. Kern responds, "I'm not resisting." Officer Lewis testified that Mr. Kern was not resisting in any way.
Was he resisting Sergeant Wolf in any way?
No, sir. Mm-mm.
Yeah, I do. You violate of my rights, man.
Yeah, were you getting a ticket for interfering with the traffic?
How did I interfere? She almost ran me off the fucking road.
And you could have pulled off and waited and called.
I did wait when she said wait.
You were out here talking to her. Have a seat.
Mr. Kerns, just
Don't push me, man.
Have a seat.
Why are you so full of machismo, man?
Dude, have a seat. I'm not putting up with your bullshit, okay? Have a seat.
What's wrong with you, man?
Have a seat.
I'm sitting down.
All the way in.
They arrest them. There's further discussion in the police when he's sitting in the police car between Carly Lewis and her supervisor, where he's like, we got to charge him with something, basically, because otherwise we're in some serious trouble.
if he
He's going
checks,
for obstructive, or he's getting a
you're
ticket
gonna.
for
I
obstructive.
don't.
Is he valid?
I don't know. I'm waiting for the radio to say. What? So this is what happened. That vehicle matched the description of the vehicle from Weird Shit yesterday.
Okay.
I saw it. I initiated a traffic stop.
Okay.
That person, instead of like pulling over, he stopped abruptly.
Okay.
And I'm getting behind him, but he stopped abruptly.
Okay.
This guy was very close to him,
Okay.
and we did. We almost did get into an accident
Okay.
because that driver stopped so
You had your lights
abruptly.
on.
I did. Yes.
Gets a ticket for
He.
there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this.
Okay.
He's getting a ticket for
Radio 1, if you need to read back on that, yes, I have
to an emergency vehicle.
Yes, radio. I do. That's why I provided
it. It
it.
was to a Demetrius Kerns. It's a 37-year-old male. He's valid. That's one.
So he gets a ticket, and then he can come to court. Fine.
Listen, I don't feel like I need to give him a ticket for that. I'm
Well,
cool
then
with
he goes for
just.
obstructing.
Okay,
He's
I
getting
mean,
a
I'm
ticket
cool
for
with letting him go.
Like,
He just, I didn't understand.
He's in handcuffs.
And he's being a jerk.
He obstructed. He refused to identify himself. I'm not going to sit out here and argue with somebody for an hour the legalities of it. You can come to court.
Okay.
So he gets a ticket for obstructing failure to identify himself.
So they decide to charge him. About 3 or 4 days later, not long after that, the city prosecutor looks at this and is like, there's nothing here, dismisses the charges. There was obviously video of this. It got viral in, I think, February. And then more recently, obviously, we filed suit last Friday, actually, in federal court up in the Cleveland area.
Officer Lewis testified that although an obstruction charge requires proof of an intent or purpose to prevent, obstruct, or delay the performance of an official act, she had no idea what Mr. Kerns' purpose was here.
And they have to have the specific purpose to prevent, obstruct, or delay the performance by a public official of any authorized act, right?
Yes, sir.
What did you believe Mr. Kerns' purpose was in his interactions with you?
I don't know what Mr. Kerns' purpose was.
What evidence did you have at the time that you cited him that what he was doing was with the purpose to prevent, obstruct, or delay the performance by a public official of any authorized act?
Objection, go ahead.
He delayed me and he delayed my response to Mr. Goodman's vehicle.
So I just want to understand this testimony.
Yes, sir.
Because he delayed you by a few seconds, and that was the result, you think he had his purpose in what he was doing was to prevent, obstruct, or delay the performance by a public official?
I don't know what his purpose was.
And other than the truthful statements of Mr. Kern indicating that Officer Lewis ran him off the road and he wanted her badge number and name, he took no act to hamper or impede her investigation. In fact, Mr. Kern followed her directives at all times, and he waited for her to finish with Mr. Goodman as she instructed.
Okay, Mr. Kern, by the way, let's look at where he's standing. You would agree with me, that's Mr. Kern. This is at 1916 seconds.
Yes,
correct? Sir. Mr. Kern is standing well behind your vehicle, kind of almost right where that turn of the sidewalk is, correct?
Yes, sir.
I mean, he's not approaching you or your vehicle there, is he?
No, sir.
And he's on the public sidewalk, correct?
Yes, sir.
As far as any sort of delay or obstruction, she thinks that taking her eyes off Mr. Goodman's vehicle for 1 second delayed her interaction with Mr. Goodman, even though she never slowed her momentum while approaching Mr. Goodman's vehicle.
You would agree with me that
I got insurance and everything. I just got the title.
Up to now, and this is 1908 seconds, nothing Mr. Kern has done has delayed your interactions with Mr. Goodman. Fair?
I disagree.
Okay, when do you think Mr. Kern delayed your interactions with Mr. Goodman?
When I had to turn around and face away from the vehicle, I initiated a traffic stop to advise him.
For 1 second?
Yes, sir. I had to take my eyes off that vehicle.
Okay. And you would agree with me that at the time, you were walking forward towards Mr. Goodman's vehicle, correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
Did anything Mr. Kern do? I mean, we don't see you stop your forward momentum towards Mr. Goodman's vehicle. You agree?
Agree.
But you think taking your eyes off of Mr. Goodman's vehicle somehow delayed this traffic interaction for 1 second?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Officer Lewis also testified that prior to arresting Mr. Kern, Sergeant Wolf never asked her what happened, and Officer Lewis never told Sergeant Wolf not to arrest Mr. Kern.
Let me ask, had Sergeant Wolf asked prior to putting Mr. Kern in handcuffs at 1906 or prior to then, what had happened?
No, sir.
You didn't tell him not to arrest him, correct? You didn't tell Sergeant Wolf not to arrest Mr. Kern.
No, I don't believe so. No, sir.
In writing out the citation, Officer Lewis knew that body-worn cameras did not lie, and she knew a court would review it and that the charge could be thrown out.
Sergeant Wolf ordered me to write the citation. I know, and you know, and the court knows, citations can be thrown out. If citations are issued, we're all going to contest in court, and as we're watching, body camera doesn't lie.
So your sense of it was, I'm going to write this and let the court figure it out?
I'm being ordered to do so, so yes.
Okay.
Correct.
She also testified that she thought Mr. Kern's frustrations were justified.
I didn't want to write Mr. Kern any citations.
Okay. Why was that?
Because I could understand his frustration in the situation.
What do you think his frustration... Well, let me ask it this way. What was your perception of his frustration?
Objection. Go ahead.
As I stated previously, he was very frustrated in the manner of which the traffic stop occurred.
Okay. And did you think his frustration was justified?
I do, yes, sir.
Okay.
She admitted that Mr. Kern was never stopped for a traffic violation.
The traffic stop, you would agree with me, it was never the case that Mr. Kern was stopped for a traffic violation, correct?
No, sir.
It was Mr. Is that correct?
Correct.
It was Mr. Goodman that was stopped for a traffic violation, correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay.
In fact, she testified that while she did not agree with the decision to arrest or charge Mr. Kern, and while she could have called the shift lieutenant, she did not do so, even though she had enough time to intervene, but chose not to.
If you had thought that the orders were unlawful or illegal or violated the Constitution, you had the opportunity to call the lieutenant, the shift lieutenant, correct?
I could have called the shift lieutenant if I did believe that, yes.
And you did not believe that, though, correct?
Correct.
You had the opportunity to call the shift lieutenant and stop what Sergeant Wolf was doing, but you chose not to because you believed the actions that he was taking was appropriate. Fair?
I didn't, at the time of that, I did not even think at all to contact the lieutenant. It didn't even go through my mind to do so, or that it was even an option at that moment.
So I understand you may not have thought about it. My question is, you had the opportunity. You could have, if you thought that what Sergeant Wolf was doing was illegal or unconstitutional, you could have contacted the shift lieutenant, correct?
If I thought so,
Objection.
yes.
You've already asked that, but go ahead. You can answer this last time.
Yes, if I thought so, yes.
You guys violated my rights. You know
Well, we'll all be in court.
probably the only good cop on the force.
I'm not trying to be a bad cop. I was literally not trying to even have any of this happen, and I did apologize.
You apologize, but you're following his directives.
He's a sergeant.
Yeah, but still, like you swore oath to the Constitution.
Right.
And you know what's right and wrong. And sometimes you got to stand up to people.
Listen.
No.
When asked for your information, you have to identify yourself. At this point, we're on a traffic stop together
But you
now.
still have to
A traffic stop is not a crime.
And I asked him, I'm being detained, and nobody answered that.
Listen.
So I did. I covered all my bases.
All the stuff's gonna be typed in the report.
If I was being detained, I had no choice but to give you my ID. That's why I specifically asked.
Yeah.
Am I being detained?
Well, at that point, it's a traffic stop.
But still, if I'm being detained, you should tell me. And if I'm not being detained, I'm free to go. And in the situation.
Well, right now you're free to go.
Yeah.
All right. I hope that you feel better, and I'm sorry that all of this had to happen this way.
You didn't do nothing.
Well, we did. We got into a little accident, almost a middle accident.
You did your job.
And I apologize.
Things happen in life. He came. He violated my rights.
Well, we're gonna work through it. All right. I don't think he violated your rights. He wanted you to identify yourself, and you didn't. All right.
You know you swore oath.
Say again?
You swore oath.
I did.
That's all I'm going to say.
All right, Mr. Kern.
Thank you.
I hope that you feel better, all right?
I'm going to the hospital.
All right. You going to go to Metro?
I'm going right there.
Yes, sir.
As you sit here today, do you believe that Mr. Kerns' rights were violated in the interactions on September 22nd, 2022 by either you or Sergeant Wolf?
Objection, go ahead.
No.
Finally, she did not disagree with the decision to dismiss the charge against Mr. Kern.
Do you disagree with the prosecutor's decision to dismiss the charges against Mr. Kern?
I do not.
Officer Lewis's supervisor, Sergeant Wolf, however, disagreed during his deposition, apparently still quite bitter that the prosecutor dismissed the charges against Mr. Kern.
Ultimately, you're aware the prosecutor dismissed the obstruction charge that you arrested Mr. Kern for. The prosecutor dismissed it or filed a motion to have it dismissed based on no probable cause, correct?
Correct.
And do you disagree with the prosecutor?
I do.
Do you know the law better than the prosecutor?
So in part 2, we're going to go all through Sergeant Wolf's deposition, which I think you'll find much more antagonistic than this one, revealing the lengths to which this police officer will go in his attempts at framing and convicting an innocent citizen. You'll hear the rest of the story, such as the secret meeting which took place after this incident in a secret parking lot designated for off-the-record police meetings, the internal affairs investigation, the disciplinary proceedings against Sergeant Wolf, and basically his attempts to gaslight the public and the courts.
Do you agree that you were discourteous and disrespectful to Mr. Kern?
Yes.
What was the bullshit you were referring to? Is Detective Pearson an honest guy?
Yes.
Is Detective Mathis an honest guy?
I don't know.
You don't have an opinion one way or another?
Do I have to give my opinion?
Yeah.
I'll also point out some of the context and the strategy involved in deposing police officers such as this, and also explain the current status of this case. So make sure you don't miss it by subscribing both here and at the blog at thecivilrightslawyer.com. You can follow me on X at JohnBryanESQ. Remember, our rights don't end where your fear begins. Freedom is scary. Deal with it.